Welcome to the Down and Dirty Beginner's Guide to the DJI Air 2S. I stated in the title that this is for 2023 simply because the Air 2S has been out for about 2 years now, and it's still the perfect size drone with all the functions and features you need. There have been quite a few updates in the firmware and even some changes in the drone and controller since the very first release. So I plan on giving you the most updated material along with some basic features that you probably already know. If you purchase a DJI Fly More Combo, then you're looking at a whole cluster of items to get you up and running, including 3 batteries, a couple extra sets of props, some ND filters, and the typical DJI carrying case that's a little too small to cram all your stuff into. After you've removed all the packaging tape and little stickers, go ahead and unfold your drone by pulling the upper arms forward and the lower arms downward, like so. We'll put on our propellers, noting that the ones with orange on them go on the motors with the orange markings, and the other two without the orange markings on them go on the motors that are all black. To put them on, simply hold the motor so it doesn't spin and push the propeller down and twist to lock it in place. When you're done with this, look at all the propellers and give them a little tug to make sure they're on good. Now you can just keep them on whenever you're going to store the drone in between flights. Looking at the outside of our drone, starting from the front, we have our clear gimbal cover protecting our camera. We have 2 front-facing sensors and 2 upward-facing sensors. On the bottom, we have 2 more sensors. In the middle of those, we have an auxiliary light that comes on automatically when you're landing in dark situations. On the back, we have 2 more sensors. On the left side, we have a USB-C data port, which you can view your footage right here on the drone. This is not for charging the drone, though. On the right side, we have our SD card slot, which I find is faster just to pop that out and put it in my computer to look at my footage. On the top, we have our battery. Push the 2 buttons in and pull straight out. To put it in place, press down gently. Hear that snap and give it a little tug. Make sure it's in good, and you're good to go. While we're up front at the camera, let's take the gimbal cover off and put an ND filter on. To take the gimbal cover off the front that's protecting the camera, simply press down in the back here, and that'll release it. And then gently pull it forward off of the camera. Hold on to the sides of the camera to keep it steady and twist the lens counterclockwise about a 1/4 turn and pull the lens off. You can see the slots that the ND filter needs to go into. Simply put it into place and give it a 1/4 turn clockwise and it's good to go. If it's sunny or even partly cloudy, you're probably going to want to put on a 16 or a 32 ND filter before you get started. If this is your typical lighting condition, you're going to probably want to just keep an ND filter on there at all times. So just keep that on there while you're storing it. Okay, that's pretty much it for the drone. Now let's check out this stock controller that comes with the DJI Air 2S. You'll notice the control sticks are stored nicely in front of the controller when not in use. Simply take those out and screw them on when you're ready to fly. On the top right of the controller, we have the camera/video button. The top left, we have a customizable function button. The center, we have our control sticks, a return to home button, a power button, and our flight mode settings for cine, normal, or sport mode. You'll probably keep this on normal until you're more familiar flying this drone. On the back, we have our record or shutter button for the camera, and on the other side, we have a control wheel that smoothly tilts the camera up and down. 2 things you may be wondering is, where am I supposed to put my phone or tablet, and where are the antennas on this thing? Well, the answers to both these questions are right here. This gives you a secure docking area for a standard smartphone or even the larger phones. You'll notice I have a third-party tablet holder on here which works great with the controller. You'll want something like this if you want to use a tablet such as an iPad or iPad mini. Make sure your tablet is compatible with the new DJI Fly App because it requires a lot more processor speed than the older iPad mini 4 that used to be the go-to tablet for the DJI Go app. You'll need to go up to the iPad mini 6 to safely run the DJI Fly App. Okay, on to the DJI Fly App. I'm using the iPad mini 6, so I'm going to get this right from the App Store. And I believe it's safe to get this from the Google Play Store if you're using an Android device too. Once you have the app loaded on your phone or tablet, you're going to connect it to the back of your controller with the cable needed for your device. I'm using a USB-C to USB-C cable for the iPad mini 6. After you're all hooked up, let's put the drone on a flat surface and power on the controller first by pressing the power button once, and then immediately pressing it again and holding it down until you hear the tone. Then go to your drone and turn that on the same way. We're going to make sure the controller connects to the drone so we can download any firmware needed for the drone or the controller. It'll tell you this in the top left corner if there's new firmware available, so I suggest you check this every time before you go out to fly. The DJI Fly app does offer a lot of features, but today I'm just going to go over the basics to get you up and running, and then I'll do some more videos in the near future pinpointing some of the more advanced features. On our home screen, the two main things you want to look for is the firmware update notification, which will appear here if there's one needed, and if it says Go Fly in the bottom right corner, then that means you're safely connected to the drone. We'll click on the Go Fly button and it brings us to our flight view screen where all the magic happens. Going across the top from the left to right, we have the flight mode you're currently in on the controller. Here it will say N mode for normal, C mode for cine mode, or S mode for sport mode. Next to that, it's letting us know that it's safe to take off. Here we have the battery life. If we click on this while we're flying, it'll give us some pretty accurate information telling us how far we can continue flying until the battery is depleted or return to home is activated. Next to that is the RC signal strength. Then we have our sensors. If this is green, then we're clear of any obstacles, and if it's red, then the sensors are detecting something. Next to that, we have our GPS strength and how many satellites you're picking up. You should have more than 12 satellites to ensure a safe flight. I think I usually have about 19 when it's safe to fly. At the far end are the three dots for settings. We'll come back to that because there's some important settings we need to look at. Under the settings is where you switch from video to camera mode. You can see the options it lists for video and photo mode here. While you're first learning the drone, you'll want to set video to normal. The same goes for the photo settings. Let's keep this on single shot for now. Under the video/photo switch menus, we have our record or shutter button, which works the same as the one on the controller. Next to the record button, we have our manual and autofocus settings. Simply tap on this to toggle from manual to autofocus. I find the autofocus works great, so we'll just keep it on that for now. Just tap on an area on the screen and the focus and exposure are all set. Under the record button, we have our play button to review our photos and video footage, along with some other cool little features you can play around with. Under the play button in the bottom right corner is our auto or pro camera settings. The resolution in frames per second offers a variety of shooting options, but since this drone shoots at 5.4K at 24 and 30 frames per second, we're going to be taking advantage of this most of the time. The EV or exposure value is going to let you tweak the exposure if the auto isn't displaying quite the way it should be. I think you'll be happy shooting in auto for a while with this drone, but if you want more flexibility, you can set this to pro mode, and now you're going to be able to change the shutter speed, ISO, white balance, etc. In the lower left corner, we have our map, and to the right of that, we have our height and distance of our drone during flight. Click on the map and it displays full screen and has some tools to the right. We have our restricted and warning zone indicators, an eraser to clean up your flight paths on the map. Under that, we have the return to home on the map. The next one is the compass north setting. Then we have the type of map display like standard and satellite or mixed. Under these different tools, we have something really cool, and that's Find My Drone. Say you didn't get your drone back before the battery exhausted and it was forced to land somewhere off in the distance. Click on the Find My Drone button, then click on the Start Flashing and Beeping button. Now you have the location of your lost drone on the map, and it's going to be easier to find your drone when you're out looking for it. Above the map, we have our automatic takeoff button that you press and hold, and the drone automatically takes off straight up. Above the auto takeoff is the obstacle avoidance symbol, letting us know that the sensors are on and working. That's a lot of stuff to control on one screen, but the DJI Fly app is still simple and organized and has a nice big viewing area for your camera footage. Okay, finally we can go over the settings in the top right corner. I'm going to skip over to control real quick and change the units to imperial so it displays the distance and height in feet. Now I'm going to start with safety. I want the obstacle avoidance action set to bypass, where the drone will go around obstacles. We also have brake, where it will stop before it hits an obstacle, and the option to turn off obstacle avoidance altogether. Next, we have disable sideways flight, which keeps the drone from flying sideways since you don't have any sensors on the side. To me, this is annoying and limits your flying, so I keep it off. Display radar map, we're definitely going to want that on. Max altitude, you want to set that according to your area laws. I'm setting mine just below 400 feet. Max distance, I have this maxed out, but if you're new to flying drones, you can set this to a smaller area to work in. Auto return to home altitude is set to your max altitude. Update home point is when you're in flight and you want to change the location where it returns to home. Under sensors, we have calibration for the compass, and IMU calibrates the actual sensors themselves. Battery info tells you the status of the batteries as well as the serial numbers and how many times they've been through a complete cycle. Auxiliary LED will set to auto, and it will automatically turn on the landing light during dark conditions. Unlock GeoZone, we don't need to go over that. Find My Drone, this is another place to access this other than the map section. Advanced safety settings. What do you want to do when the signal is lost? Return to home is usually the safest thing to do when this happens. Emergency propeller stop is set to emergency only. This sounds like a bad idea no matter what. AirSense. You can set these notifications in the map section if there's any manned aircraft in that area. We'll keep this off for now. Over to control. We already set the units, so down to subject scanning, we can turn this on so it shows any subjects it picks up in the camera view. Gain and expo tuning, we'll leave these at the defaults for now. In the gimbal section, you'll probably want to be on follow mode most of the time, but you can change this to FPV mode and switch it to sport mode if you want to get to your destination quicker and get some cool fast FPV footage. Phone charging set to on will charge your phone or tablet right from the controller, which is nice, especially if your battery is running low during a flight. Stick mode, I have this set to mode 2, which is standard controls for the control sticks. Button customization is just for the one function button on the controller. You can look through the different functions to set here, but I just keep mine with the defaults. Then we have RC calibration and flight tutorial, which is a nice little refresher course if you haven't flown in a while. Over to camera. This area is going to show you settings for your photo or video depending on what is selected on the home screen. We're on photo right now, so it's giving us the photo settings starting with format. You're going to get the highest quality here with the RAW setting, but you'll need to color grade your photos afterwards. JPEG will be fine if you're posting your photos online or social media. For the size, you're going to get the most out of the 1-inch sensor with the 3:2 ratio, and 16:9 will be cropped and give you a nice wide landscape view. Anti-flicker, we can set this to auto. Histogram, we're going to set this to on, and if you're familiar with reading a histogram, then this can be your most important exposure tool. Overexposure warning, we can set this to on. I guess it can only help. Grid lines, I just like having the basic cross lines in the middle here to help center my shot. Peaking level, I set this to normal and everything's in focus, and hopefully you'll have a lot of little red outlines on your screen. White balance, we can set this to auto for now, but it's best to get to know the Kelvin scale and set this to manual. It's normally midday sun when I'm flying, so I have mine set to 5500K for now. I'll just change this before I fly according to the lighting conditions. Next we have the storage location, and it shows us what's available on the drone's 8GB of internal storage along with our SD card. Max video cache, I just have this set to 4GB so it doesn't take up too much room. Now we can go to our home screen and switch our mode to video, then go back into the camera section, and you'll see now we have our video settings. First we have color settings, and normal will give you footage right out of the camera that doesn't need any color grading, and it does look pretty good. D-Log lets you take advantage of the 10-bit video offered with the camera and gives you the best option for color grading and editing your footage. Once again, if you don't plan on doing any post-color grading, just leave this on normal. Since the native D-Log format produces a flat color display, you can turn on Color Display Assist and you'll get a display on your screen with a more natural looking color. Format is going to depend on the device that you're going to edit your footage on. I'm using a PC, so all my files will be MP4. All you Apple users will use the MOV format. Video subtitles is another cool option that embeds all your flight information on your file, and you'll be able to see the subtitles are turned on in the video player. This is a good way to keep track of all the camera settings that work best for you. And the rest of these settings will be the same as in the previous photo settings. Over to transmission. We won't mess with the live streaming platforms right now. I think they have a little ways to go to perfect this. Definition is the quality of our display screen. I set this to HD to get the best quality. Frequency, we're going to want dual band for this. Channel mode set to auto will keep you on the most stable frequency, so there's no interference with your transmission. And finally, over to about. This just tells you the model of the drone you're flying along with all the firmwares you're running and the version of the DJI Fly app you're using. Okay, we're at our big open area right now, free of any obstacles. We already have our drone set up here. We took our gimbal cover off. We're on a nice flat surface. I have the tablet on. We're going to turn on the remote first. Press down once, then press down again. You can hear it beep. We're going to go ahead and do the same to the drone. Press down once, hold it in. See the propellers kick in. Okay, we'll wait for it to connect to the controller. There we go. It says go fly. We shouldn't have any updates that we need. The Fly Safe requires updates. That just means that it detects a new area. We can go ahead and bypass that for now. We're going to click on Go Fly. Just says that our home point was updated and we're ready to fly. Okay, now we're going to start our propellers by pressing in and down with both sticks like so. There we go. Okay, now we're going to take off properly by pressing up gently with the left stick. No need to press any buttons on the controller and hold them or anything. This way is faster and easier and more controlled. So here we go. All right, that's all there is to it. Now we're going to focus on the movements of the left control stick. First, we're going to go up with the left stick. We're not touching the right stick. And we'll notice going up, obviously because we just took off, brings the drone up. And if we go down with the left stick, you got it, it goes down. Up, left stick, down, left stick. Okay, now going to the right with the left stick, spins the drone to the right or clockwise, spins it all the way around. Going to the left with the left stick, spins the drone counterclockwise to the left. Okay, so left stick we have up, brings the drone up, down, brings the drone down, to the right with the left stick, spins the drone to the right, to the left with the left stick, spins the drone to the left. Now to the right stick. We're going to go up with the right stick. It flies the drone forward. We're not touching the left stick. We go down with the right stick, and the drone goes in reverse. It goes backwards. Now I'm going to spin the drone around a little bit so we're pointing away from us. I'm going to let go of the left stick. Now I'm going to press up with the right stick and fly forward. Now I'm going to press down with the right stick and go in reverse and come back to me, backwards. Not touching the left stick. Right stick only, press up, we go forward. Let go of both sticks and it hovers in place. Right stick down, goes in reverse back to us. Now what happens if we go to the right with the right stick? Right. The drone is going sideways to the right. To the left with the right stick, the drone goes sideways to the left. Now I want to mention that there's no sensors on the left side and the right side of the drone, so we want to minimize our left and right sideways flying, unless we're getting set up for a shot or something. Okay, now we're going to try a couple combination moves that we're going to be using all the time with the drone. The first one, we're going to go forward and up at the same time. This is good for taking off and getting to your position quickly. So we're going to go forward with the right stick, or press up with the right stick. And at the same time, we're going to gently press up with the left stick. And you can see your distance and height changing in the left corner. You can see we're going far and up at the same time. And we just want to make sure we're not going up too high. So we'll keep an eye on our distance and height. All right, we're going to let go with both sticks and hover. If we ever feel like we're losing control, just let go of both sticks and hover. Look at your map. Look at the little arrow in the map. If we get lost, we don't know where we're at, where the position of the drone is, simply click on the map, point that arrow back towards us by spinning around with the left stick, and you'll see the point of the arrow. We want it pointing right back to us, right back on that blue trail there. Okay, now we can minimize the map. There we go. Now let's fly back to us. And let's go down at the same time, just the opposite of what we did for our combination move. Now it's going down and forward at the same time. I'm going to bring it down to about 80 feet and just keep going forward, letting go of the left stick. And there we go. That was our first combination move. Okay, now the next combination move that we will be using all the time is a gradual turn. And to do that, we're going to fly forward slowly. And at the same time, we're going to press to the right with the left stick. And now we're making a nice gradual right turn as we're flying forward. I just spun all the way around to where we started. Okay, let's do that again. We're going to go up with the right stick, and we're going to go right with the left stick at the same time, and we're going to make a nice gradual right turn. Very smooth. And I'm going to let go with the left stick and fly forward towards me with the right stick. All right, and we're back to where we started. Now I'm going to spin around, get into position here, go up a little bit higher, pressing up with the left stick, spin over to the right a little bit, pointing away from us. Okay, now we're going to do a gradual left turn. We're going to press up with the right stick, and at the same time we're going to gently press over with the left stick to the left. And now we're making a nice gradual left turn and flying back to us. Okay, there we are. We're going to let go with the left stick, go forward a little bit with the right stick. We're going to spin around. We're going to do that again. We're going to go up with the right stick. Now at the same time, we're going to go over to the left with the left stick. And if you want to cut it a little sharper, you'll go over more with the left stick. Not so gentle. Do a nice sharp turn. And here we are, back at our starting point. There we go. Okay, now we're going to get our drone in position to land. We can go to our map, click on our map. Now we can look at all those crazy trails that are on our map. Those are our flight paths. We can click on this little eraser so they don't get in our way. Now let's aim the pointer towards the H, our home position. And not even looking at the drone, we're just going to fly the little arrow to the H there. Right when that arrow is over the H, we know that the drone is right about above us. So now we can look up and find out where our drone is and safely land. Okay, now we're going to land by pressing down with the left stick. Don't worry, it's not going to slam into the ground or anything. It's going to detect the ground and gradually land. Make sure there's no obstacles underneath us here. And keep it pressed down until the propellers stop. And there we go. Now that we have the hang of the controls, let's take a couple photos and some video with the DJI Air 2S and the DJI Fly App. First, we want to make sure our camera settings are good to go. We'll click on the camera settings icon here and use Photo Single Shot. In the lower right corner, we'll keep it in auto for now until we get used to flying the drone. Taking photos with the drone is great because there's unlimited angles, distances, and framing to capture your subject. We'll fly over to this area here and take a few different photos of this little waterfall just to show you what I mean. Okay, right about there. We'll use the toggle wheel on the back left side of the controller and aim the camera down a little bit. Still getting some of the horizon in the shot along with the waterfall. Okay, we're looking at our histogram. We look pretty good as far as our exposure goes. Focus looks good. Let's tap a picture here. We're using the shutter button on the back right side of the controller. Or we can use the button on the screen. I'll take one again. There we go. Now let's go up and get right over top of the waterfall there and get a different view. Okay, now we're going to angle our camera pointing straight down. Then we'll go forward to get straight over it again. We'll go up a little bit more. We can turn the drone a little. There we go. Get it nice and centered. Tap our shutter button on the back right of the controller. Bam, just took a picture. We'll take another one with the button on the screen. There we go. All right, now let's go get one more view of this and take another picture. We're gonna toggle our camera back, facing forward. We're gonna fly forward for a little ways. And we're pretty high up there. We're at like 309 feet, so we'll turn around, facing the falls. There we go, from this angle. There we go, now we're gonna go down quite a bit and try and get a little closer to those, facing them. Okay, at this point I can actually see the drone, so I can get pretty close here and not be too concerned about hitting anything. I'm just going to get centered right in front of the falls here. Go down a little bit lower. And then I'm gonna toggle the camera up a little bit so we get the whole stream and maybe a little bit of the horizon. I'm gonna have to back up now. There we go. And I'm gonna take a picture by clicking the shutter button on the back right of the controller. And on the screen, just to show you, you can use both ways. There we go. We just took 3 pictures of the same subject at different angles and heights and distances. All right, now we're gonna do a quick video clip. We're gonna go to our screen and select video here. We got video and normal. We'll keep it on that for now. And what we can do is go down to auto here, and where it says 4K 24, we can click on that and we can set it to 5.4K 24 frames per second. We're gonna get the best quality out of that. So we're gonna press record now by pressing the shutter button, the same one we used for the photo in the back right of the controller. Okay, now it shows that we are filming, so let's go forward and fly for a ways. Try not to make too many movements, just to get a nice smooth video. I'm just gonna fly past this marshy area here. And then I'm going to turn. Make a sharp turn here and come back. And we'll keep doing video of the stream while we're flying back. There we go, nice and smooth. Okay, when we're done, just tap that button in the back of the controller again. All right, we did about a 1-minute video clip right there. We'll see how it turns out. Fly back over to my home point here. All right, we just took some photos and video with the DJI Air 2S and the DJI Fly App. There's a lot more features and settings involved with the camera for photo and video, so stay tuned for some shorter videos pinpointing these incredible features. All right, that's just a lot of basic information to help get you off the ground with the DJI Air 2S. I'll be putting out a lot more videos on tips and techniques with this drone, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of these upcoming videos. Until then, happy flying, and we'll see you again in the great digital outdoors.